Hey guys, welcome to round number 2 of this Modern League, and we have a hand that's a little borderline, but I think is keepable. This Cryptic Command isn't all that castable right now, but interesting. Blackleaf Cliffs Pass. That's probably Living End, unless it's a bad Jund draw. I mean, we'll find out in our end sip if he cycles a Deadshot Minotaur or something. It is indeed Living End. Luckily we drew this Watery Grave, so on turn 3 we should be able to cast our Cryptic. Okay, that's not bad. Let's grab a Breeding Pool here. And we're going to get an island off this Search for Tomorrow. Yeah, we just needed to dodge him going like... Actually, never mind. We really didn't need to dodge anything here because if he Living Ended, then he would just get back in Architects of Will. And I mean, if he does something here, that's kind of annoying, but... Alright, let's... Alright, let's go ahead and cast this. Okay, looks like he doesn't have the Living End right now, because you'd think that he would wait... He wouldn't wait, rather, to play around Cryptic Command. Alright. Okay, wee bit annoying that we we've drawn a couple of mountains. Nothing to be worried about right now, but it's just a little concern there. Kind of interesting that our opponent is apparently on Living End in a field of a lot of dredge, because game 1 seems pretty bad against them. Living End is able to do some neat stuff, like their sideboard is going to have 4 copies of Leyline of the Void, because, you know, against those kinds of decks, those graveyard decks, you really need that graveyard hate, because you're playing a deck that's going to reanimate everything in all graveyards, and so its post-board games actually tend to be kind of neat against dredge, and our opponent is trying to beast within our steam vents. Do we let him do that? Actually, I'm going to take the liberty of cracking the Secure Tribe right now so he does not have a target for whatchamacall, for Demonic Dread. That might actually be why he's not he doesn't have the ability to Living End. So let's see. We can't cut him off of a color by Cryptic Commanding, so I think it'll just be safe to counter draw. So what land do we want here? We have 3 green sources, so I'm not too worried there. So what could he have? Like a Fulminator Mage, maybe? Next turn. So we could play around that Actually, we don't need to get Swamp for Brink to Light because we have 2 copies of Scapeshift in hand. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and get an island here and counter draw. Hope to draw a Remand, because going Scapeshift into Scapeshift with Remand up is kind of our ideal scenario. Alright, what do you have, opponent? What you got? Okay, suspend living end does not worry me so much. So now we have a fairly clear path to Scapeshift. So let's cast Search for tomorrow. Get this forest. And let's Scapeshift. And yeah, there are only 2 mountains, so we can get just get Valakut and 7 mountains. That seems to be the safest way of killing him. I'm not aware of if there's any instant speed land destruction he can play while tapped out, but just in case. Yeah, clicking through and making sure you've selected everything is so annoying on Magic Online. Because sometimes there's a little lag. Alright. Let's have these 7 triggers upstairs. Alright. Always yes, always yield. Bada bing, bada boom. Alrighty. So yeah, I think it was pretty good to play around Demonic Dread there. So what do we want here? Negate seems good. Negate seems good. Dispel, maybe. All it can hit is Beast Within, though. Aloth, maybe. Glenalindra seems not bad. Crumble seems a little bit too narrow. I remember I was actually playing this this Jeskai Ascension deck, so like Pyromancer's Ascension and Thing in the Ice and stuff, and I once beat a Living End opponent by boarding 3 Molten Rains and having it forked a couple of times. Their mana base is not very good, so yeah, I think we're sideboarding pretty lightly here. Obstinate Baloth doesn't really hit anything, and they aren't hitting us with discard. I guess Slaughter Games is okay. It can stop them from, winning right on the spot. Let's take out this Anger and these 2 bolts. I think Maelstrom Pulse and Damnation are kind of fine as just ways to slow him down. He doesn't know about Madcap, so we can safely keep that in. And, if we show him that in the next game, maybe we'll board it out, so he'll have a bunch of useless ingot chewers or something. But yeah, this seems fine to me. Keeping in the Miser's Lightning Bolt because there's not much better, and B, just in case we got to get him below 17. Below to 18 or below. They do shock themselves quite a bit with their mana base, but that is how it is. Okay, that went pretty well for game 1. What makes this deck kind of hard to play against is their possibility of going Simian Spirit Guide for Fulminator Mage on turn 2, and that can put quite the crimp on our mana base. In some versions, we only play about 8 ramp spells. This one plays, I think, about 12. So we're going to have mana acceleration a little bit more consistently in this version. But in like just classic rug Scapeshift, sometimes you don't draw those accelerants, and if they go turn 2 Fulminator Mage on the play, you can't get 2 mana up for remand quickly enough, because the next turn, they'll cycle some stuff, and then and if they're lucky, they go cycle Straight Wraith, cycle a 1 mana cycler, and then they get you. with Simian Spirit Guide into Violent Outburst or something. But yeah, I hadn't quite thought of Demonic Dread as a reason why they weren't Living Ending. It's been a while since I played against that deck. And this hand seems fine. Remand is always nice against this deck. Because if you remand their Living End, goes back to their hand and they can't cascade into it again. Okay, so to play around Fulminator, we're going to search for Tomorrow. Makes our Cryptic a little harder to cast. But Fulminator cannot hit non-basics, so... sorry, it can only hit non-basics. So... that is why I'm playing that way. You'll notice previously that in the dark I prefer to fetch out a Shock. Now, the question I'm asking myself here is, how seriously do I want to play towards this Damnation? Because it might be able to slow them down for one turn. Okay, that's a pretty good start there for them. Let's see, what cards have they revealed? Is there anything special? No, this all seems fairly normal Living Endish stuff. Slaughter Games, I mean, that's a sideboard card. Definitely the Fulminator. Okay, so how fast can we kill them here? So that's going to be a 3-turn clock. So what we can do is fetch up Watery Grave with this, get a Swamp with the Search for Tomorrow, and have Remand or Maelstrom Pulse at the ready. I'm hoping he casts something that we can remand. Like, he goes Fulminator Mage, and then we remand it. That seems pretty good. I mean, the downside of that line is that this makes Cryptic far worse. Okay. Whale. I was planning on just remanding anything right there, so... Watery Grave, untapped, remand. Drew another Scapeshift, not the best outcome there. Yeah, let's get a Swamp here. Drew another Remand. Do we want to Maelstrom Pulse something? Nah, I don't think so. I'd rather just hold up Remand here, because I want to cycle a little more into my deck. If we can just play Damnation the next turn, that should slow our opponent down quite a bit. Of course, then the question would be, what happens if he just passes? And then we may not have an answer. Maybe I should have Maelstrom Pulsed. I didn't quite do the combat math there, so... yeah, that was a mistake. I should have just pulsed this guy, and then we would be at 6. No, we would have taken 5, because we would have left the... No, we wouldn't be at 5. Yeah, we remanded the Simian Spirit Guide, then we would have pulsed this, we would be at 6. But we're kind of far from casting our spells there, so we didn't draw a ramp spell there or land, so that happens. And that's kind of the downside of this version of the deck. In other versions where you're running Serum Visions, you can try to set up those land drops a little bit better. I'm feeling pretty good so far. Ooh, yeah. I neglected to think of Madcap Experiment. That could definitely have been an out. If we had just drawn a couple of lands, we could have gone into Madcap for Platinum Empyrean, and yeah, unless they have Ingot Chewers or something. Ingot Chewer is a 4 and a red for a 3/3 that is evoked for a single red that blows up an artifact when it comes into play. Yeah, definitely want to play first. Oh man, this hand is so tempting, but gotta ship this. I've been stung by such hands before, and this hand is not exciting, and Cryptic is very uncastable. Let me say that. So, Valakut, go. At least we do have the potential for a fast kill. Okay, that's not bad. So I think we get breeding pool here. Yeah. And then Farseek up the other breeding pool. Yeah, I tried that in the solitaire rooms. If you Farseek and shock yourself, it still comes into play tapped. Got two replacement effects there, and one's, I believe it's called a self-replacement effect. So next turn I think we want to go Secure a Tribe, immediately crack it, to play around Demonic Dread. Yeah, I'm just gonna grab an island here, because we seem to have enough green sources. And actually, yeah, let's bluff Remand here. Don't actually have anything, but there's the possibility our opponent will play a little bit scared. Actually, if I really wanted to sell that bluff, I would have I wouldn't have cracked the Secure Tribe Elder. I would want to bait him into demonic dreading my Secure Tribe Elder. So levels upon levels. Looks like he's gonna take my Scapeshifts, which is unfortunate. But Bring to Light here would not be a live draw because we would need a fourth color of mana. No, I think Secure Driving for an island here is correct because that allows us to cast Cryptic Command, which is pretty important. Fortunately, now he knows that our hand is a whole lot of nothing. So I guess next turn we're just playing Valakut and passing. Even if we draw a different land off the top, we're gonna conceal that information. You know, play it cool, act like we drew a Cryptic off the top. Honestly, that's just our best draw. Guess our opponent's taking a little time to study the idiosyncrasies of this deck. Probably wondering why there's a Platinum Empyrean in there. Alright. Step 1, draw Cryptic Command. Oh yeah. Then our next step will be Cryptic their living end, draw into Swamp, and then next turn draw Bring to Light. I guess Madcap would have been a good draw too. There's also the hope of just drawing a bunch of mountains naturally. Maybe playing maybe playing Steam Vents here was correct, even though that doesn't conceal information, because we do want more blue sources in play. Hadn't thought of that. Hadn't thought of that. Beast within Valakut. Yeah, that's fine. So yeah, Madcap Experiment would be a good draw here. I mean, I guess how many Beast Withins do they usually play? Around 2 or 3, and you can't overload on 3s. So that's a good question. How many Living Ends do they usually play? I mean, sorry, how many Beast Withins do they usually play? So, yeah, we're going to let the Cascade trigger resolve. And then we're going to Cryptic the Living End. And actually, what we need to do is we need to counter and bounce, because to play around Ricochet Trap. Ricochet Trap is kind of a neat card in these sideboards. It's basically a redirect for a single red if you have the trap cost, which is your opponent plays a blue spell, and it redirects the targets of a spell with a single target. So if Cryptic was counter draw in this case, then he could just redirect it to the Ricochet Trap. But now that we do counter bounce, he can't actually do that. So yeah, this plays around that possibility. I mean, it prevents us from having that play of draw a black source off Cryptic into Bring to Light. Okay, so it looks like they play about 3 Beast Withins. There's the Platinum Imperion. Oh man. I've drawn that way too many times. Okay, so if we draw land this turn, we can cast our stupid Platinum Imperion. Okay. That is... Oh, never... I mean, I guess they have ways of dealing with the Imperion, because they're playing frigging Living End. They have ways of just killing all the creatures on board. So I guess they do have more than just the 3 main deck answers. I guess that's one reason to board out that combo, but also the fact that our opponent doesn't know about it. Okay, so how much damage can our opponent do if he has a Violent Outburst? That's 4 plus 3. He only has 7 power in play, so I'm actually just content to just sit on this Beast token. If he does end up Living Ending, then we can just play the Platinum Imperion after. I mean, they can hit us in the face for 7 damage off these 2 guys, and then we can just play the Imperion. If he goes Demonic Dread into Living End, then that's fine. We can Platinum Imperion there as well. Okay, he's suspending a Living End, so that means that there's only one copy left in the deck. Usually they play 3. So let's go ahead and get our Watery Grave here. Okay, there's Remand. So I feel safer just hitting my opponent with this beast. Because, getting into a fight over a living end that we lose is perfectly fine. Getting into a fight over a living end that we lose and kills our Platinum Empyreon is a lot worse. So I feel fine just, if he has that Ricochet trap that I was playing around. Then I feel fine about that. Because then we can just follow up with this big dude here. There's that Blood Crypt we bounced ages ago. Okay, let's hit him with this beast. Beast withinning. What is he targeting? His own forest? So if we remand this, he casts it again. Actually, no, I'm just fine with this. He wants to 2-for-1 himself there. And yeah, I think we're best just passing here, and we can play the Platinum Empyreon after this living end goes off suspend. Definitely want to pay attention to this guy over here. I mean, despite the fact that we drew the Platinum Empyreon, I'm feeling not bad about this game so far. Slaughter Games. Well, that's a little worse. Now it makes me wish I'd cast the stupid Empyreon. Maybe he names Madcap or Bring to Light. I mean, the safe play is always just to hit the Empyreon. But Slaughter Games cannot be countered, so a little worse there. Name's Cryptic Command. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 10 mana for Empyreon plus Remand backup. It would be kind of funny if our opponent missed this one Cryptic Command in a graveyard. It's kind of funny because on Magic Online, you have to click through all of the cards in all of the zones. And see, he missed this Cryptic in our graveyard, so if we draw our Snapcaster Mage, we can Cryptic something. But yeah, this is most egregious with Surgical Extraction, because you're targeting the darn thing in your graveyard, right? And yeah, so back to talking about the Magic Online interface. Yeah, with Surgical Extraction, it's the most egregious because you're targeting the thing in the graveyard, and then but if you don't click on it on the resolution of the spell, it doesn't get exiled. All right, let us remand this guy here. I mean, our opponent saw our deck earlier. Yep, there's the Ricochet trap. And then our opponent's... So, yeah, our opponent gets a little mini scry there. Actually, we have a couple of very funny ways of trying to win here. We can secure a Tri-Belder for our mountain and just try to lightning bolt our opponent with 2 fetches of Valakut. And actually, that's why I actually made a slight mistake with this fetching of Misty Rainforest. Usually, your instinct for playing Scapeshift is you never want to fetch out mountains if you can avoid it. You just want to do it if you need like double red for Anger of the Gods. But here, since our Scapeshifts have all been slaughter games, it actually behooves us to get as many mountains on the battlefield as possible. And I had not thought of that. That is, usually does not come up that often, but it's always a good thing to keep in mind. Here, I think the safe play is just Damnationing. So let's sack this guy, get a swamp. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Actually, if we draw a land, we can go Damnation and play Platinum Empyrean. Just the card we needed. Yep. Goodbye, fellas. So Snapcaster Mage, as always, is a good draw. Remand would be good, because opponent really depends on drawing Living End to win here. Maybe he boarded out at Living End. That would not surprise me. Okay, so we have a couple of avenues to victory. Okay, what's going on here? Is he violent outbursting, perhaps? Beast Withins are Valakut, so let's float mana. That's fine. Okay. So that changes our plans. We're not getting we're not getting a mountain there. We just want to have play to our outs, which is drawing Snapcaster Mage for this cryptic command. This game has been kind of silly. Hopefully our opponent does not have an answer for this Empyrean. No! Oh, man. Off the top. Oh, okay. I guess I deserve that. So our best draw is, again, Snapcaster Mage. I guess Glendalendra wouldn't be bad either. Because That way we could attack in the air. Okay, our opponent played that pretty well, gotta admit. Got a little impatient with that Platinum Empyrean there. Okay. This turn, I'm not going to block, because I'm hoping to draw a Lightning Bolt off the top and kill them. Well, unless he plays a giant monster here, in which case... Yep. This game has been very silly. Man, oh man. We had so many live draws. I think that mistake of fetching up an island with Misty cost us this game, because we might have been able to actually bolt him out with Valaka triggers if, I mean, he may or may not have had that beast within the entire time, but, oh man. Well, we know that Secured Tribe Eldring probably wouldn't have changed this, because that wouldn't have improved our draws. We really needed to just play to our outs, and we did not draw it. Okay. A little disappointing, but you have to admit this game was pretty entertaining. Man, drew everything in exactly the wrong order. There's the Lightning Bolt, but we wouldn't have been able to get past the Street Wraith. I guess we could kill the Architects of Will, like block, chump, bolt, but then that wouldn't have actually done anything. Whew, okay, see you guys in round 3.